68 cents of every dollar spent stays in your local community. And what can you do, listeners, to keep your dollars in your community? You're listening to the next episode of the Main Street Success Stories podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Koch, a 25-year entrepreneur, and I created Main Street Success Stories to share others' journeys to help you learn, grow, stay motivated, and know that you are not alone in this game called entrepreneurship. 2024 has been a challenging year for our local businesses, and it is more important than ever for us to support them. Today's guest comes from North Dakota, Brooke Norlin. She is a virtual assistant and a social media manager. She supports both online and local businesses. Today, we dive deep into 5 topics every small business owner should be posting on their social media to drive traffic into their local business. And I know as small business owners, we're always struggling with content creation. So here you go. Brooke's bringing it today. You're going to want to grab your pen and paper because she's got 5 great subjects that you can be talking about in your business starting right away. I invite you to join us in this important conversation. Welcome to the Main Street Success Stories podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Koch. I've been a business owner for about 25 years, and now I'm a business coach. I actually turned my first business into a franchise and successfully sold it after owning and operating it for 20 years. I prioritize building a business while also building a life and love working with the creative entrepreneur. I mostly work with emerging business owners who desire growth. They are in their first 5 years of the journey and want a plan that's going to help them succeed for years to come. They're tired of not getting paid enough, feel stuck, and want more for their business and family. If you are a business owner and you're feeling stressed about how to attract more customers, you have a really good sales month, but then you look at your bank account and wonder where the money went. You look at your financial statements, but if you're being honest, you're not really sure what to do with the information. And you just tell yourself, if I work harder, it'll fix all my issues, only to feel exhausted and never see things improve. You're here because you want to build your business, but you also want to build a life that you love. I invite you to learn more about one of my 3 coaching programs designed to help you earn more and stress less. You can choose which option works best for you. Imagine this. You have a clear plan and momentum, and you're gaining more clients every week. Your revenue climbs by 20% or more. You save 5 hours a week because you know exactly where to show up. You're experiencing double-digit growth in your profits. People refer customers to your business because they understand exactly who you help and what you do. If this is you and you desire more, reach out, let's have a conversation, and you can click in the show notes below. Hi, Brooke. Welcome to the show today. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it too.
So, Brooke, you are known as a VA, which stands for virtual assistant. You have your own business, which is your brand, Brooke Norlin. And where do you live?
I'm up in North Dakota.
North Dakota, where today we're recording this in December, and it sounds like you're having a little bit of a cold spell up there just in time for Christmas, huh?
It is. It's cold. I think we had real feel of 16 below yesterday, which is horrible.
Yikes. So yeah, the movies that we watch are that's real?
It's real.
So, Brooke, tell me, first of all, explain what a VA is, because I know VA is a term that's kind of been, I don't know, newish in a way, but gets kind of thrown around a lot. I feel like mostly online businesses refer to knowing what a VA is, but it stands for virtual assistant, and it's not just for online businesses, right?
Right. Yeah. Being a virtual assistant, you can work with any business in different capacities. And I think where the confusion maybe lies is a virtual assistant usually is someone you'll find remotely online that can help your business from anywhere. Where if you're like a Main Street business, sometimes you're more likely to hear the term social media manager or someone that just helps you run your social media, someone that just helps you make reels or things like that. So, but a virtual assistant is kind of more of an all-encompassing term because I offer more than just that. I do help with social media, but I can help with like behind the scenes technology, automations, and the things that stress the ever living goodness out of you as a business owner. And where I like to do that, and I'm good at that, and I've experienced at that, and I can do it much quicker and with a lot less stress for you.
Hallelujah. Amen. Because yes, I feel like so many business owners, we get stuck in the tasks. And
Yeah.
so what you're saying is you come along and help us with those tasks, whether it's customer service, emailing, social media, technology, and the technology is changing all the time. So it's nice to
It
have
is.
somebody in your back pocket, which you often say you are. So how did you start out with this? What was your story to getting to where you are today?
Yeah. So it's a long one. I mean, it's a long span one. It's not a long story. About 18 years ago, I started to see social media was kind of it was growing. It started to be something that everyone had was able to be a part of at that point in time. I had just started college, and like Facebook just had opened from just being a college thing to like an everybody thing. And it was a really exciting time for people. And the world was starting to kind of see this opportunity to create marketing on the social media platforms, even at the very beginning. It wasn't just social, right? People, when they opened it up, saw this opportunity. And it was very simple back then, and people weren't doing the extravagant things that we kind of see today, the video marketing and things like that. But I was so intrigued by it. And the way that I saw an opportunity to step into that was through direct sales. And I was never, what do you say? I was not always as interested in making the sales or actually doing the business as I was learning how to run it and learning how to do marketing. So I used that avenue to really introduce myself to that, and honestly did it really poorly in the beginning because we didn't know a whole lot, but learned along the way. And another piece of that was I've always been so interested in technology, even when I was little. Computers were new. I grew up in the generation where we lived without computers, and then all of a sudden we had email and the internet, and it was the Wild West. And as that came out, I really got interested in coding and learning how to do just little things no one taught you how to do. You just had to figure out as a kid, that if you wanted to accomplish something kind of cool on your computer. And I realized that I loved figuring things out like that. So as I took that journey from being a young kid who was really interested in technology and then kind of learning this online marketing thing through social media that was starting to become this new thing, and also being an extreme introvert and wanting to find a way to maybe create income for myself where I didn't have to be outside of my home, all of this kind of fell together. And I started seeing people asking me the same questions. I see you're doing really well at this. How are you doing that? I would love for you to teach me how to do this, or come in and tell my team how to do that. And I was like, well, I think it's just time that I do it. I just do this as for a living. And that's how that all came about.
Wow. Okay. First of all, thank you for taking us back down memory lane. When you were saying about coding, it brought back flashbacks of college with the terrible like 3-dot things at paper, and we
Yep.
used to feed through those horrible huge machines that took up a whole room. And then you're talking about email, and the first thing that popped into mind was AOL, which
Oh my gosh, yes.
younger listeners won't even know what we're talking about. And you would dial on and hear that like it was connecting, and you got so
Yes.
excited because you knew it was connecting. So yeah, what a interesting, it sounds like you were somebody who was just kind of ahead of their time and had a huge interest in problem solving.
Yeah, for sure. I love figuring something out. There's nothing more satisfying to me, honestly, than giving a client giving me a problem that they can't solve. And I'm like, I've got this. We'll figure it out. Even if I've not done it before, I'm going to dig into that thing and we're going to do it.
So how do you control yourself from all the technology that's out there today? Because I feel like in your space, you could really go down a lot of rabbit holes
Yeah.
with all these new apps, all these new technologies, which are good. Some of them we need in our businesses, but we could also distract ourselves and spend a lot of time and money chasing them. How do you kind of stay focused in your day to day with that aspect?
Well, focus can be an issue for me in that way because I do want to learn it all. But what I've learned to do is put some limits on where I go based on what my customers need, what my clients want. So learning to understand their business, understand who their target audience is, and where those people are showing up helps me to understand what kind of help they're going to need. So as I've done that, things have kind of narrowed into a category or a few categories of things that I have gotten really good at and can help with more. But it does allow me to the curiosity that I have to expand from that if a client has a different need. But most of the time we're sticking to social media is a pain point for a lot of businesses. So I stick to a lot of social media, and I'm a firm believer and you don't have to be everywhere to be amazing. In fact, I think focusing on one spot or maybe two is better for you than spreading yourself super thin. And then you can also work with a virtual assistant who can put you everywhere, even though you're only on one spot. But also, the behind the scenes technology tends to be pretty similar for all businesses. So that is something that I can narrow in and offer good suggestions for businesses as well. A lot of times they'll come to me with a problem and they don't even know there's a technology for it. But because I've worked with different businesses and setting up different pieces of things, I'm able to offer different avenues based on price point and what their needs are, because I've had experience with different businesses that have different needs and different levels. So it all kind of turns into being the same thing, but it's just figuring out what's uniquely needed for that business.
Right. Based on, sounds like I love your approach that you're really focused on what the clients, their customers or clients want and where their clients are hanging out. That seems to be your starting point,
Yeah.
more so than what the business owner needs. And
Yeah.
that's brilliant, because a lot of times as business owners, we have our to-do list of what we think we need. But like you said, are we really reaching our clients and talking to our clients in the way that we should be, or customers, whatever you call your customer client?
Yeah.
And I love how you're starting there. You're kind of reverse engineering that. So that's brilliant. So when somebody is at a point, a business owner's at a point where they want help that you offer, it sounds like social media seems to be kind of, I feel like there's a justification with social media when it comes to business owners, because I have the conversation all the time about delegating and looking at their time and, looking at what can we outsource? What are we really good at? And where should we be spending our time working on the business? And how do we start to baby step our way out of working in the business? And for some reason, social media always bubbles to the top as something they can justify investing in. So is that what you're seeing too? Most of the clients come to you and they want social media help?
Yeah, very much so. And I think that, like you said, it is not something that a lot of business owners see. They might see it as fun and shiny and something they really would like to do, but it doesn't become a top priority because there's so many other things that pull their attention that need them, that needs their full power and their full brain capacity, where social media is kind of can, if you really get into it, can be a huge beast. It can be a full-time job. It can be and also a distraction in some cases, and like time draining for you if you let it be. And if you do that in your business, you can really it's a disadvantage to you, because you're taking you away from the things that are creating income for you inside of your business. So as you're right, a lot of smart business owners see that social media is something that they should be hiring out, not because they're not capable or maybe not because it doesn't interest them, but because it's not the best place for them to create income with their time. So investing in someone who can do that for them is definitely something that smart business owners are looking into.
I agree. And I also feel like sometimes social media can be a crutch for small business owners. We can hide behind it. And what I mean by that is we can spend a lot of time scrolling, commenting on other people, which we should be. We need to be engaging. It is a network, it is a place to make relationships, but it can distract us from working on those things that sometimes, I don't know, sometimes we just don't want to do. And so then we find that other fun thing to focus on. So let's talk about social media a little bit, because obviously that's a topic that everybody knows, and one that I feel like we're always scratching our heads, like, what's next? What should we be doing? Do I have to do a TikTok dance? Do I have to do a reel? What do I have to do to get attention? And, we had started out talking that virtual assistant is not just for online businesses, that Main Street America, meaning our brick and mortars, our boutiques, our, haircut, pet businesses, places, service-based local businesses can really dive into your services as well. And you and I, before this podcast, were chatting about what we're seeing happening with our businesses in 2024. I think we can both agree that 2024 has been tough for locally owned businesses.
Yeah.
Are you hearing that too in your world and with some of your clients?
Yeah. And I think the big thing for me was going out for Small Business Saturday shopping this year and just overhearing the murmurs from customers asking the owners, how was it this year? How have things been? And it overwhelmingly was, I mean, they tried to keep positive, but you can hear behind their voice that it's like, well, it wasn't quite as much as we expected or quite as good as we expected. But that's okay. But you can hear that it's not. It's starting to, it's that, it's been a hard year. It's been maybe a hard couple of years, and it's starting to eat at people. It's not just, um, business owners have a couple of different challenges where they're trying to get people in their doors, but they're also trying to get people to spend money with them versus conveniently spending it in a different place online. And, people are still spending money, but they're maybe not walking into those brick and mortars as often as they used to. So they've got a couple of unique challenges that they're facing right now.
Yeah, I am hearing the same thing. I had, well, first, my daughter and I went shopping Black Friday, and we both commented on how it lost its, used to be this like, set your alarm for 2 a.m. and out the door you go. And it was a hustle and bustle, and you just enjoyed it, seeing people, getting all the deals. And that, I mean, I would say the traffic was, I don't have any statistics on it because it just happened, but it had to have been a third of what we normally used to see. And, to your point, the online world, the deals started weeks ago. They can do the big, heavy discounts where the smaller, locally owned business really struggles there. And so that's something I try to educate my clients on. You can't just have a social media platform. You can't just have a website. You can't just hang up your shingle and expect people to come in. You have to drive traffic.
Mhm.
So, what are you seeing are some really good strategies or tools to help them drive traffic in the online world? Because they have to have a presence digitally, obviously. But
Right.
how do we flip that script and drive the traffic into our local businesses? What are your suggestions there?
Yeah, I have several. And I think some of the biggest ones is that realizing one, that the online world is where you're going to reach the people who are shopping online. So we need to consider when we're showing up online as a small business that we're talking to those people who are looking for convenient shopping, who are scrolling their Instagram late at night and don't really want to leave the comfort of their home to shop. They want something that's convenient. So how do we make them feel like it's more important for them to step into our doors than it is to quickly, conveniently shop and sometimes get something on their doorstep in 2 hours? You know what I mean? So how do we talk to them, and what do we say to them to make them want to be in our doors? And I think there's a few things. And the first one is letting people see your story as a business owner. I don't think we do that enough. I don't think we humanize online enough the portions of our business that make our business so unique. How did it start? What were your struggles when you started? What was your dream when you started? And where are you now? Also, what's the experience when they walk into your door? What does it look like? Because it's unique, and they want to be a part of that story when they can see what kind of things what it looks like when they walk inside of your door. So I think really sharing those stories about what your business is about, the people behind your business, and humanizing that can really connect someone to that more than it can connect them to like a big business box store thing. And we need to not be afraid of sharing those things, and we cannot share those things too much. I think sometimes we think, I've said it once, people know my story. They don't. They do not know it. Share it often, and make people hear it. You also
It's
have,
so,
go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just going to say it's so true because I do think we feel awkward, like
Mm,
we are posting too much about ourselves, or we're sharing too much about ourselves, or yeah, I already did my fun facts. I already shared my why. But we get so caught up that really people aren't, it's all about them, right? It's not about us. But we feel on social media that everybody's watching and they're going to criticize us, when at the end of the day, you're lucky if you capture just a small, small percentage of your ideal clients because
right.
of and how we're inundated with so many messages. I heard this statistic. It used to be that you had to show up 16 times. Someone had to see your message, your advertisement, your business 16 times to be remembered.
Mhm.
And the latest statistic I saw, it's up to 40,
It is.
because our brains are just inundated, and we are getting so many messages a day, over 10,000 a day. So
Yes.
keep showing up, business owners. Don't
Yes.
think just because you did it once that you can check that off your box. And I
Mhm.
think there's some vulnerability there.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable talking about your why, talking about, oh, this was a tough Black Friday and I needed this to be good. And it's like we feel this pressure to have it all buttoned up and put together and to be so perfect. But like you said, when you humanize it,
Mhm.
that this is a real person behind this business.
Right.
I
Well, and
maybe cashed out a 401k to start this business. I maybe
right.
left a really good corporate job to start this business. I think you're right. What happens then is people start emotionally connecting with you and you start to build a little tribe.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, the other part of that is them understanding that how big a part you are of their community and how important that is, because people do connect to their community. They have a connection to their community. And if you as a small business do things within that community, you need to be sharing that too. And you can't share that often enough. I mean, do you volunteer time? Do you donate to causes? Do you support the local soccer team? All of those things are very important and connect those people to your story, to your store, so much more. And then when you also make it your business, make it your job to educate people on how important that small business support really is. Um, I don't think a lot of people, like I would bet my pants right now that most people do not understand that when they shop with a big store online, maybe 5% of that dollar comes back to their community, but it's 4 times that when you shop with a local business. So you're not only investing in this person and the story and their dreams and of someone you can actually tangibly look at and see, you're also investing back into your community. And I don't think that people give that thought a thought often enough. So we need to make it our business as small businesses to make that something that crosses their mind more often.
You're so right because most people aren't thinking that. If you're not a small business owner, you're not realizing the impact. And yes, I've heard that statistic as well. 4 times more. I think it's up to 68 cents of every dollar spent in your local community business stays in the community,
Right.
which is huge because none of us want our communities to dire and slow deaths because then that's not good for any of us. It's not good for our home values, it's not good for our school systems, and we need these businesses to keep that running. So in a way, there's a lot of pressure on the small business owner today because not only do they have to run their business and manage product or manage service, they have to become advocates. They have to
Mhm.
become, these like stand on a pedestal and educate our consumers. But that's where you're suggesting social media is a great platform to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people will grab onto that as a feel good story too. People like to feel good. So if they see you sharing a statistic like that, or you sharing how the money that they've invested in your business is going back into the community, it makes them feel good. It makes them want to be a part of the story that you're sharing, and it makes them want to walk in your door, and it makes them consciously think before they click that button to have it delivered to their door. Maybe they can go grab it at their local kitchen store instead of and maybe making that effort to walk out the door, put some pants on and get into the doors will seem a lot more it will be more intentional for them.
And probably good too to get out of our homes. I feel like post COVID, we're all stuck in our homes doing everything all the time. Okay,
Yes.
so you talked about humanizing your story, talking about your impact in the community as far as the things that you're doing in your community. Your third tip was we've got to educate people about how much of the dollar stays in your community. Anything else you would recommend for small business owners that are in the local trenches?
Sure. And a couple of more, and I won't, I mean, I think most business owners will know this one, but to collaborate with other business owners in your area and it transfer that trust between each other. Well, some of us have the same customers because of maybe just our location. Transferring the trust from your business to another and them doing the back that same thing by collaborating, doing different things, maybe creating a scavenger hunt in your local area or sharing maybe doing a little pop-up within each other's businesses once in a while. It does transfer that trust and it expands your network locally. And then also if you're sharing that on social media, it's expanding that network socially as well. It's not just the people who are walking inside your door, it's the people who already follow you on social media. You are broadening the amount of people who get that exposure. and sharing followers and customers that way. And I think that's really valuable.
I do too. I call that get in front of other people's audiences, right? Get some
Yeah.
fresh eyes on your business. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add to these? These are amazing tips, and I hope everybody's writing this down
Yeah.
and can add this into their social media strategy for 2025. Anything else that comes to mind?
Sure. I'll share one last thing, and I think it's really important and something that we miss a lot. And it is clarity and sharing what's going on inside of your business. We think that people walk into our front door and just know what to expect are going to come in there. A lot of people want to see what they're going to see before they get in there. So show people, give people a tour, show them around your shop. What's it like when they walk in? Do they get greeted at the front door? Do you hand out coffee to the people who walk in that front door? What happens when they get in there? And then also, if you have any events or anything like that happening that you think are going to draw some more people in, you need to make sure that you are super, super clear about what it's going to look like. Because I don't know about most people, but I'm not going anywhere if I don't know what the parking is like, who's going to be there, and what's happening hour by hour. I need to know those things in order to feel more comfortable going to this place. So the more information that you can give, the broader the audience that is going to be willing to show up and see what's happening within the doors. So always be clear about what's happening and invite people in a way that makes them feel really comfortable.
That is an amazing tip because you can never be too detailed. And I think because we are in it every day, we see it every day, we take it for granted. We think, oh, of course there's parking. Why wouldn't they think there's parking?
Right.
But you're right. There's a lot of business, areas that are more downtown feel and don't have parking. And people I think the online world has created this desire and need to know what to expect.
Yeah,
The idea of walking out the door like the old days with no map, no GPS, and just getting to where you're going by feel and asking questions, those days are over. People want to know step by step. So what a great tip.
Yeah.
Detail, detail, detail. Don't think you are talking down to your customers because you're not. You're just providing a lot of resources for them.
Right. And they're not going to go looking for it for themselves. So you have to put it out there for them. They're not going to dig deep. Put it out there very, very clearly right in front of their face.
Oh my gosh, what a great tip to end this on. So, Brooke, tell us a little bit about if somebody is a business owner listening, whether they're online business or they have a brick and mortar or a service-based, what would be a good way for them to kind of know, like, hey, I need a Brooke in my life? Like, what is maybe something that's going on in their day-to-day that's going to trigger that? Let me reach out and just see what she has to offer.
Yeah. Well, if you're finding yourself struggling to find the time to create social media posts, I think that's one of the first things. Or if you're losing your time doing it, if you are finding yourself scrolling, I think that's one of the very first things that will make you realize it's time to look into hiring something like this out, because we can make social media an afterthought and then we are hurting our business. And I don't think we realize that. So that'd be one thing. Another thing would be, there's something else in your business that's just not feeling like it's flowing correctly. Maybe, the back end system isn't working right. Maybe people's ordering, maybe you have an ordering online situation in conjunction with your brick and mortar, and things aren't working properly back there. Or maybe you're finding that your time is being sucked into customer service online, answering questions online. That's when it's time to look into hiring somebody, when your time feels like it's being sucked away into something that isn't something that you need to show up in yourself.
And I will tell you, as an entrepreneur, your best asset, your most valuable asset is your time.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Thank you, Brooke, for this wealth of information. Great tips to help our local businesses just be found online. I will put a link to how listeners can connect with you. And I just really want to thank you once again for your wisdom and for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Like Brooke mentioned, customers are not going to dig deep to find the info they need to purchase from you. Today's topic, it was so near and dear to my heart because I just feel for the business owners out there. I know how hard it is in the day-to-day life. And then when you're struggling to get customers in your door, that it just adds a whole nother layer. So my hope is today that you walk away with a clear understanding of what to post on social media to drive more customers into your doors. The days of just having a website, a social media presence, and a shingle outside with your name on it is not going to do it anymore. Take Brooke's 5 steps, create a content strategy, and really see what we can do to get more people into your business. And if you're a listener who's a shopper, which I'm guessing all of us are, please take a pause before you hit buy online and think about what local business you could visit instead. Could you buy from somewhere local? Not only is it good for you to get out of your house, you'll also meet some new people, and you're going to do a wealth of good for the business owner and also your community. So if you're a small business owner and your business is not giving you all that you desire, I'm going to invite you into my program, Earn More, Stress Less. I help creative entrepreneurs with a 3-step program that's going to help you increase your revenue, improve your profits, and pay yourself more. My clients experience double-digit growth. Now is not the time to try to do everything alone. I invite you to learn more. Click the link below. Let's have a conversation to see if it's a good fit for you. Until next time, thanks for listening. Keep building and remember to support your local businesses. They need you more than ever.